Hello, hello, my lovely Sagittarians. Welcome back to the channel today. We are going to be doing your weekly reading for March 11th through March 24th. Let's go ahead and get started pulling your cards for the week. 5, 6, 7. All right, that's week 1. And let's pull week 2 here. Alrighty. Alright, Sagittarius, let's go ahead and get started. On Monday, week 1, on March 11th, you start off with the King of Pentacles in reverse. So, some of you may have been thinking about starting a new business or starting a new opportunity that would bring you more money or bring you more wealth. Now, some of you are still just in the thinking and planning phase of these things. Some of you with this card being in the reverse, I would caution you about overspending. If you do find that you are overspending, this might be a good time to take a look and reevaluate your budget. I feel like for most of you, though, what's going on is that this King of Pentacles is the energy you want to embody. This is what you're looking for. You're looking for an opportunity that's going to have you be the boss of yourself or be the boss of your own life, your own business, whatever the case may be. A lot of you are wanting to embody this wealthy mindset, this boss person who handles and takes care of their business. Then we have the Three of Wands in reverse on Tuesday. And this card, normally this card is about moving and making changes, taking action to start in a new direction. I feel like a lot of you are in the thinking stage. I feel like a lot of you are stuck on maybe the steps or the planning necessary in order to start this new project or to take this new opportunity. I would say that it's time to get going. I feel like looking at the rest of your cards here in the reading for this time, it feels like a lot of you are just stuck in the thinking phase. And you need to get out of the thinking phase and get into the doing phase. Sometimes we like to stay in the thinking and planning section of doing something because it lets us feel productive without us actually doing the work or letting us actually, take the leap of faith that we have to do in order to get started. If we sit there and plan out what the perfect beginning or something would look like, we can always stay in this planning phase, but the actual steps, the actual work process is very hard to do. It's very difficult to get into, and it's very scary at first to start moving into that. So some of you are trying to look at the steps that it would take to get to this King of Pentacles in reverse. But I feel like you're more stuck on the thinking, and you need to be more in the actual physical planning stage. Moving on to Wednesday here, you have the Four of Cups. This is a card about manifesting the things that you want, keeping your focus on a particular thing, and not allowing your focus to be taken from you. Sometimes this card can have like a negative side in which, the options being presented to you don't seem good enough and you want one particular thing in a specific way. So the Four of Cups, I can tell that you, Sagittarius, are focusing on what you want. You have an idea of what it is that you want your future to look like, and you are focusing on it. You are attempting to manifest it into reality with your thoughts. But again, as I was saying, it's in the thinking process, and you haven't actually moved into the doing stage. You're stuck in this mindset of, thinking, but you have to actually take the steps, take the action to start. Moving on to your card for Thursday here, you have the Fool in reverse, and this is further confirming that you need to take a step in the right direction. You need to start. If you're thinking about starting a business or you're thinking about starting a side hustle or something that's going to bring you money, as I said, you can be stuck in the planning phase. You can be stuck in trying to figure out all the bits and pieces that you need to before you actually start doing something. If you've been wanting to make a channel for yourself, maybe you've been trying to If you've been wanting to make a YouTube channel for yourself, maybe you've been trying to figure out how to start your first video. Maybe you've been stuck in the planning phase of trying to put all of these pieces together, what scenes you're going to do, how you're going to edit. But guess what? You can't edit a video that you haven't made yet. And so with that in mind, it just gets started. Just take that first step. Even if the first step is something that isn't going to make it to the light of day, right? Even if the first step is just a rough draft of something that you're trying to do, it's better to get started, because the actual process, the actual steps and the journey and the things that you do along the way is what is going to give you the insight so that you can actually start to plan things further. You don't know what you don't know, and you won't know what you're missing. You won't know what you still need to do until you actually start taking the steps. And from that point, you can do a little bit more planning, but I think the important thing here, Sagittarius, is that you need to get started. Your next card here on Friday is the Death card in reverse. In order to get started on something, something else has to end. Something else has to come to an end with this Death card in reverse. And some of you could be resisting this ending. If you're wanting to start a side hustle or a business, maybe this ending that's required of you is ending your current job at a place that you really like. And so you're hesitant to take that step because, ending your job to start a side hustle can be very scary because you're relying on yourself for your own income. There could be other, little deaths that we have to come to terms with within ourselves. So maybe it's the death of some of your free time. Maybe it's the death or ending of some negative thinking patterns that are keeping you stuck in this stage of your life where you're afraid to make progress. So Sagittarius, there's some sort of ending. There's some sort of death here that needs to happen, and a part of you is resisting this ending. A part of you is resisting moving on from what this thing is, and this thing is holding you back. Your next card here, Sagittarius, is the Two of Swords. So there is a lot of conflict about this, right? There is two ideas, two directions that you could possibly be going at this time, and both of them seem to have equal merit to them. Both of them seem to have equal pros and cons, and it's making it very difficult for you to make a decision. You find yourself stuck between these two places about, where you want to go or how you want to go about doing things. This, as we've been saying, for example, if this is job related, this could be your old job and the new job you want to do. If this is not job related, this is just, other choices that we have to make, staying or going, what to do next, things like that. So the thinking, the mental game of trying to figure out what to do next, what step to take, which one is the best option for you moving forward is the conflict that's happening here with that Two of Swords. And for Saturday, you have the King of Swords in reverse, which is saying that you don't have a clear picture about what to do. You may be very confused at this time about the steps that you want to take. With this card being in the reverse after that Two of Swords, I feel like you might be looking for answers in the wrong place. The answers that you're looking for are not within your logical state. They're not within your mental or your mind. I think you have to search for answers within a different piece of yourself, within a different aspect. So I would take some time on this Sunday here to meditate, get in touch with your intuition, get in touch with your guides, meditation, yoga, even reading tarot for yourself too. I think getting in touch with your guides and yourself to figure out what you are possibly missing in this equation. Because the King of Swords is a very logical person. This is a person who makes decisions based on the logic and reasoning behind something. And so, some of you may feel as though your reasoning skills are being tested at this time, but I think what this is that, not everything can be solved with logic. Sometimes you have to look at your feelings. What may seem like the most logical choice to go with could actually end up being the one that hurts you the most emotionally, maybe very physically detrimental to you instead of, logical. So just keep that in mind. Take some time to meditate and get in touch with what the right decision would be for you. Let's move on to week 2 here, Sagittarius. Starting off on Monday, you have the Hanged Woman. This is that liminal space between between two places, right? A rock and a hard place. This is the chrysalis before the butterfly, right? This person, the Hanged Woman, this is the last breath of life before death. This is where people are said to have, flashbacks about their whole life, replaying their whole life or memory inside their head kind of thing. That's what the Hanged Woman is doing here. This person is looking back on their life in their last moments on this plane of existence before moving on to the next one. And this is kind of the stage where I think you are in right now, Sagittarius, is that this new beginning that you want for yourself, this new idea or opportunity is going to require some sacrifice from you. It's going to require you to leave something behind. And while you are in some degree prepared for this change, I think part of you is still, in this chrysalis moment of like understanding that you've kind of outgrown the place where you are currently. But you also don't feel as though you are ready to pop out and become the butterfly. I feel like a lot of you are kind of sitting here with this, fear about what's going to happen next. Maybe not trusting the process about, moving into this new stage for yourself. So the Hanged Woman, this is your place. This is your moment, that breath before you move into your new life. On Tuesday, the next day here, you have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. And this is more of that need to get going. The Knight of Pentacles, when you look here, he is holding a pentacle under his arm there. I'll flip it up real quick, just so you can see. But you see how he's holding a pentacle? The pentacle is represented by a seed. It's meant to say that he needs to get planting. He needs to take this seed and start planting it so that he can start to grow, start to see the harvest. The Knight of Pentacles is someone who is, holding on to this seed, trying to find the perfect place to plant it. And they need to get going. So this is that hesitancy, that inability to figure out where the best place is, or that inability to, at least work with the places that you do have available. Even if it's not necessarily the 100% most optimum conditions, maybe it would be better than the alternative in your case. So Sagittarius, this is your seed, your idea, your reasoning for getting started, for going and moving in this new direction, planting that seed for yourself and allowing it to grow where you have it, grow where you are. On Wednesday here, you have the Five of Wands in reverse. So this is about moving away from conflict. Very well could be that one of the inspirations behind you moving out of this space or moving into, a new job, wanting something new for yourself, is because of the conflict of where you are currently. Now, I feel like this could also be your conflicting ideas, emotions, or opinions, things that are kind of bouncing around inside your skull aimlessly at this time. And I feel like with this card being in the reverse, on Wednesday, you're taking a step back from the chaos of it. You're taking a step back from the craziness that's happening inside so that you can, get a fresh perspective away from all of this mess. Because I think sometimes, we get so caught up in trying to figure everything out and trying to do the, right thing all the time, having all the answers. And sometimes we got to take a step back and just leave those things where they are. And we can often find that doing that leads us to a fresh perspective. It gives us the opportunity to look at things from a new light and to figure things out without the influence of our current problems or ideas. Moving on to Thursday here, you have the Strength card. So your work here, Sagittarius, is not done. There is still more that needs to be done, and you have to have courage. You have to have strength at this time. Tap into your potential, tap into your strength, your courage, your faith in yourself, faith in the universe, faith in things working out around you. And trust that you were brought along this path for a reason. You are being led in this direction for a reason. And trusting that no matter what happens, even if things don't work out the way that you planned, even if things don't work out, you're still going to learn from this experience. You're going to gain knowledge and insight that you can use towards your new opportunities after. And don't lean into that fear of failure. Don't let that fear of failure keep you from taking the risk, taking the jump, and the leap of faith that it's going to take to get you where you want to go. Because with that first card here, Sagittarius, your King of Pentacles, that is a visionary. That is a person who sees something greater than themselves. They see something and they build it into being, and they build this big, experience, this life for themselves from the ground up, kind of like a self-made millionaire almost. And truly self-made with that King of Pentacles. That card, that person comes from nothing, comes from being poor, and is able to bounce back. So trusting that you're being led with your big dreams, your visions, your ideas for a reason. Trusting in the strength of yourself and the strength of the universe and everything around you to bring you to where you're trying to go. On Friday here in week 2, you have the Queen of Cups. This is about trusting your emotions, trusting yourself. The Queen of Cups, this card always feels a little bit lonely to me, but this is in the upright, this is a person who is okay with that. They're okay being alone because they are, their own best company, their own best person. So on this journey, you may find that you feel a little bit lonely here and there, but this card is also about trusting and honoring your emotions, making space for yourself to feel, without being influenced or swayed by your emotions, not making choices out of desperation or heightened emotions, honoring where they come from, honoring their messages that they bring us, and making choices accordingly, not in influence of your emotions, but with the trust that they are trying to tell you information, right? Instead of yelling out in anger, this is the person who looks at and examines why they are angry in the first place and what caused this and what is this anger trying to tell me or teach me right now. So Sagittarius, you are in tune with your emotions. You are trusting yourself. You need to trust yourself more, trust your flow, trust your feelings, that, you're trying to go in this direction because you're looking for something that's going to help grow you emotionally, something that's going to help you feel content and stable and happy and fulfilled in the long run. On Saturday here, you move on to the Six of Cups in reverse. The Six of Cups in reverse, sometimes we can be looking at something through rose-colored glasses. This is my rose-colored glasses card, right? Sometimes we're doing it because we're hoping that things are going to bring us something, that we're going to get something out of it, right? Or that, it's easier for us to look at something through optimism and positivity and rose-colored glasses than it is to really confront the truth behind certain things. And when we look at something through these rose-colored glasses, we're not being truthful at the base about what this thing actually is. Some of you could be looking at this opportunity or making this job for yourself from the wrong place, right? Some of you may be looking at this new job for yourself because you're looking for something that's going to bring you happiness without having to work as much, right? Some of you could be expecting more from this journey than what it really is going to bring you. I feel like some of you are hoping that this thing is the answer to something that you've been looking for or something that you've been trying to do. And that's not really the case. I feel like you may be avoiding certain uncomfortable aspects that need to be addressed. The Six of Cups is also about our childhood. So a lot of you could be dealing with some feelings from your childhood. Maybe this was a dream that you wanted from your childhood that you're trying to bring into reality. But it's very possible that your expectations in childhood aren't exactly realistic in the modern day world, realistic in the adult world that you now find yourself in. So, Six of Cups in reverse, just make sure that you're being honest with yourself being honest with your motivations behind where you're trying to go, and don't get too attached to the way that you think things should be. You know, allow yourself to experience this journey, however it ends up turning out, wherever it may take you. And lastly, we end with the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. This is not being too caught up on perfection. So, Sagittarius, don't get too down on yourself if your plan or your journey doesn't end up perfect, if it doesn't take you in the way that you want it to go, or the way that you have been expecting or holding on to it happening, right? A journey is, we can't always plan for every single part along the way. And if you do stay stuck in the planning stage, trying to plan for every single thing that could go wrong, you're never going to get started. And allowing yourself the opportunity to be a beginner, to make mistakes, to learn from those mistakes, that's part of this non-perfection. You can't be expecting yourself to follow the perfect plan, and you can't expect perfection from you as an imperfect being, right? Humans are not perfect, and the things that we do, the things that we create, are imperfect simply because we are imperfect beings. So don't expect perfection from yourself in this, Sagittarius. Don't expect that you're going to wake up and everything's going to be perfect and easy and stress-free along the way, because that expectation is unrealistic. And it kind of ties in with that Six of Cups in reverse a little bit too. So anyway, Sagittarius, thank you so much for being here today. That is your reading for these next 2 weeks on March 11th through March 24th. If this video was helpful to you, or if you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up, give me a like, a comment. Once again, thank you so much for being here today, and I will see you again in the next video.